guys at that time, which I went on a few marches and where Tommy Robinson was, but I met him once or twice. I always believed in the creator. So as I was growing up, I stopped going to the church when I was 17 years old or something like that. I started drinking alcohol and taking substances and stuff like that, which led me away from getting away. I also played football, rugby. I'm a big sports fan, by the way, and which led me down to drinking more, and then it led me to a place called a right-wing group called the EDL. And as I was drinking, you become a sheep, so to speak, because you follow the next man, what the next man's doing. So I had a few friends that were following EDL, and they was talking about Islam in.
How old were you at this point?
Just when they first started, I was about 21, 22. You know, it all started off like humble and stuff like that, but then it got extreme. But when you've got friends outside of you telling you that, oh yeah, Islam's this, Islam's that, Islam's that. As a person, I was never a reader, so I didn't like reading. So I didn't even know what the Quran was, to be honest with you. I was never a reader, so I didn't like reading. So I didn't even know what the Quran was, to be honest with you. Right. When I went to go like into the right wing and go to EDL, I never went there with knowing what Islam was. I just thought they were building these temples in our country, yeah, and they were killing us. That's all I thought.
The Muslimic law.
Yeah, the Muslimic law, the Shakira law, yeah. So
so your first views of Islam were obviously negative, yeah?
Yeah, my first views of Islam is beyond what actually Islam is. Yeah, it is crazy.
And at this age now, so you've just come into this organisation EDL. Now you've got your sense of brotherhood amongst these British individuals.
I think that's another thing as well. You, at the time when you first join, it's like an honeymoon period. So in the EDL, everyone's embracing you and stuff like that. So when they embrace you, you're thinking, oh, you're good at yourself, I've got friends. But when it comes, it was all about the alcohol. But what happens with alcohol is in the morning you have hangover. Right. No one gets in touch with you to see how you are. So you become more lonely in a sense till you meet them again at the pub. So I just classed them as pub mates after a while because I only seen them in the pub. Nobody wanted to do anything else apart from the pub. And the thing that I fingered with EDL is me and my friends, we always liked it because of the alcohol afterwards and stuff. It was, and to say, like, I don't think anybody knew anything about Islam. No one ever read the Quran. I never heard anyone speak about Islam. I heard them speak about Islam and just, oh, they're building temples, we'll just go, it's a let's get drunk, so to speak. So
now amongst the EDL, amongst the EDL conversations, what kind of conversations would they have pertaining to Islam when they actually spoke about Islam and the Muslims?
There wasn't much. It was more boy banter. So basically, the guys that I hung about with at the time probably weren't as extreme as the likes of Tommy Robinson and the likes of the guys at that time, which I went on a few marches and where Tommy Robinson was, but I met him once or twice. But I didn't see like now Tommy's coming out and he's been a bit, I didn't see him in that light, so I only seen another side to him. So. There's different sides to people, and when you want to portray towards a certain people, you change. Yeah. So you go from this humble guy to.
Yes.
If you look at it my way, I just thought Muslims were terrorists, and that's what I got drilled into my head. But I wasn't willing to go and educate myself, and I went and educated myself, and I took my shahada. So that's the.
I do actually want to get up to that. What I would like to know is where was it at your point that you went from the honeymoon period? When did that actually die down after the honeymoon period of the EDL, when all of the pizzazz and the novelty just wore off?
EDL disappeared, and I joined the Britain's First.
Right. Okay. So Britain First fight back. Yeah.
So when Paul Golding started talking about things, I agreed with him.
Right.
But it come to a point where it were too too much for me, and many people in my family, my friends, even some of my friends were saying, look, we weren't brought up to be racist, you weren't brought up to be like this, so come away from it. And even my mother spoke to me about it as well. So
what did your mum say to you, and what kind of impact did it have on you?
she said, I didn't bring you up to be racist, I didn't bring you up to against, I always brought you up with respect and love for anybody. And it kind of took me away, and at the time I was in a bad place, I was drinking and stuff, and I actually sat back and thought, if my mum's saying that, then I must be doing something wrong. And there's, you know, at the time it was just, and I just remember clicking the dislike bit on the page and never looking back. It was so, but it was like, that was like about 5-6 months before I took my shot. I mean, no, before I started looking into Islam.
Right. So you know, at the point that you actually went from, all right, so you had the honeymoon period, obviously, as you refer to it, you know, with EDL and with Britain First and whatever, and then those died down. At what point did you go from thinking, do you know what, I have to drop these organisations out of my life?
I remember thinking, where is actually the people that I actually started with? Because when we started, there was quite a few people.
Some newbies that started on with you.
But you know, it's like they did it for their own agenda. What they did, they bring you in, show you a bit of love, and then next new person come in. You know, that's how it works. And
recruitment centre.
Yeah, yeah, agency.
An agency, yeah. Right, okay.
Yeah. We give him 40 hours first week, and then 20 hours next week, and then
in the deep end.
Yeah, in the deep end.
Right. So, what was it then that you actually thought? Do you know what? Where were you? What were you doing on that day where you just thought, do you know what? I have to release myself from this whole EDL and Britain First. I was
in two minds. I was thinking, well, what are we actually achieving by going on these marches? What are we actually doing? You know, there's one thing I've always thought. Yeah, there's 1.6 billion Muslims on this planet. If 1.6 billion Muslims was crazy and lunatic,
yeah,
there'd be slaughters on the street everywhere we go.
Yeah.
So I had to think, well, I grew up with Muslims. They didn't try to kill me. They didn't try to eat me. They didn't, you know, they always shared stuff with me. Yeah. I lived on the same estate. I lived in an estate where Pakistani Muslim. Yeah. Only thing they didn't teach me was Islam. They taught me everything else, you know, about, and I never understood when they used to bring samosas round about Ramadan and stuff like that. So, but that's when I turned around and actually looked at my past life and thought, well, you know what? I've grew up with Muslims. What am I doing? Why am I like this? What's led me down this road? And I blame alcohol and being a sheep as well. What's led me down this road? And I blame alcohol and being a sheep as well. I was a sheep, you know.